Let's be completely honest with each other first. The level of sheer, unadulterated madness happening in Fairmont Crest right now is enough to give anyone whiplash. But nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, is making my blood boil quite like the wicked, twisted, and agonizingly slow burn web of deceit spun by the one and only Hayley Hamilton. For weeks and months, we have been forced to watch this glamorous Black Widow parade around town, flashing her fake smiles and carrying her designer bags, all while systematically destroying the life of her husband, Bill Hamilton. If you are anything like me, your patience has officially run out. We are all screaming at our television screens, begging for someone, anyone, to catch onto her lethal game. How much longer do we have to endure this agonizing poisoning plot before Hayley is finally dragged away in handcuffs? Well, buckle up, soap fans, because the universe has finally answered our prayers, and the walls are rapidly closing in on Mrs. Hamilton. Will she finally pay the ultimate price for her sinister crimes? The explosive turning point we have all been desperately waiting for begins in the most unassuming of places, Orphe Jeans. Let's set the scene, shall we? It's just another chaotic day in town, and our beloved June is simply trying to go about her business, wiping down tables, serving coffee, and managing the daily hustle of the diner. But fate has a funny way of intervening when you least expect it. While going about her shift, June inadvertently stumbles into a web of darkness that will change the Hamilton family. She hears hushed, urgent voices coming from a secluded corner of the restaurant. It's Hayley, and she is engaged in a fierce, whispered argument with a strange man. We, the audience, know this shady character is her sleazy cousin and co-conspirator Randy Parker, but to June, he is just a terrifying unknown. What exactly are they plotting in the shadows of a public diner? As June leans in closer, trying to remain unseen behind a partition, the chilling words she overhears are enough to make anyone's blood run completely cold. Hayley, looking absolutely frantic and deeply annoyed by the inconvenience of her husband still breathing, aggressively demands that this mysterious man increase the special dose. Yes, you heard that right, the special dose. But the horror doesn't stop there. June stands frozen in absolute terror as the conversation takes an even darker, more sinister turn, culminating in a phrase that will haunt her. The end of Bill. Can you even imagine the sheer panic coursing through June's veins at that exact moment? She is standing there, a regular citizen, holding the key to a literal murder plot. What is a woman supposed to do when she realizes she has just eavesdropped on the Grim Reaper herself? June, bless her heart, is not the type of woman to sit on a secret of this magnitude. The sheer panic in her eyes is palpable as she realizes the gravity of what she has just uncovered. She knows she cannot just walk away and pretend she didn't hear a plot to end a man's life. But who can she trust? She can't exactly walk up to Bill, a man whose arrogance and massive ego often blind him to the truth right in front of his face. Instead, June makes the smartest, most crucial decision of this entire storyline. She seeks out Naomi Hawthorne. Naomi is sharp, she's fiercely protective of her family, and she has the brilliant legal mind to handle a crisis of this proportion. But how will a daughter react to the devastating news that her stepmother is actively trying to send her father to an early grave? The meetup between June and Naomi is nothing short of cinematic perfection. I can practically feel the tension radiating off the screen as June, breathless and trembling with anxiety, pulls Naomi aside. She spills every single terrifying detail of that hushed conversation at Orphe. She recounts the strange man, the fierce argument, the mention of the special dose, and those 4 fatal words, the end of Bill. At first, you can see the absolute bewilderment flash across Naomi's face. It's a lot to process, isn't it? Hearing that your father's glamorous, albeit deeply annoying, new wife is actually a cold-blooded killer in the making is a tough pill to swallow. Will Naomi dismiss June's claims as a wild misunderstanding, or will the terrifying truth finally dawn on her? As the initial shock begins to wear off, we witness a masterclass in realization. You can literally see the gears turning in Naomi's brilliant mind as she begins to connect the horrifying, disparate dots of her father's recent life. She thinks back to the terrifying moments during Dr. Madison Montgomery's deposition. Remember how Bill suddenly couldn't speak? Remember the violent, uncontrollable hand tremors that he desperately tried to brush off as mere stress? Naomi remembers. She thinks about his sudden, inexplicable weakness, the trips to the emergency room, the abnormal blood tests that left the doctors completely baffled. It wasn't a stroke. It wasn't a transient ischemic attack. It was poison. How devastating must it be to realize that your father has been dying a slow, agonizing death right in front of your eyes. The psychological weight of this epiphany hits Naomi like a runaway freight train. Every single one of Hayley's fake, concerned smiles, every time she hovered over Bill's hospital bed playing the role of the devoted, worried wife, it was all a sickening, Oscar-worthy performance. Naomi realizes that Hayley is not just a greedy gold digger waiting for a massive life insurance payout. She is a lethal black widow spinning a deadly web. The sheer rage and horror that must be boiling inside Naomi's soul at this moment is unimaginable. She has to look at the woman sleeping next to her father and know that she is a murderer. But what is Naomi's next move? Will she confront the wicked stepmother in a fiery, screaming showdown, or will she play a much smarter, more dangerous game? I have to admit, I am absolutely thrilled by Naomi's next decision. Any lesser character would have immediately dialed 911 or run straight to Police Chief Elon Hawthorne or her husband, Jacob. But Naomi is brilliant. She knows that Jacob is currently drowning in his own dangerous obsession with the impaler and the plasma ring, and involving the police without concrete proof would only tip Hayley off. If Hayley catches wind of an investigation, she will undoubtedly dispose of the special dose, play the victim, and leave Bill vulnerable to a future untraceable attack. Naomi needs cold, hard, undeniable scientific proof to lock that woman away for the rest of her miserable life. How far is a daughter willing to go to save a father who refuses to see the truth? This leads us to the most suspenseful, heart-pounding stealth mission we have seen on this show in months. Naomi devises a brilliant, albeit incredibly risky, plan to secretly collect samples of Bill's daily tea. We all know Hayley has been slipping her toxic serum into his drinks with a terrifyingly casual smirk. Naomi has to infiltrate her father's office, navigate his arrogant dismissals, and somehow secure that thermos without raising a single red flag. I am literally on the edge of my seat just imagining the tension. Every time Naomi reaches for that cup, I hold my breath, terrified that Hayley will suddenly walk through the door and catch her in the act. Will Naomi be able to secure the poisoned evidence before Hayley administers the final, fatal dose? But securing the tea is only half the battle. Naomi needs a medical expert she can trust implicitly, someone who won't ask questions and won't alert the authorities prematurely. Enter Dr. Madison Montgomery. This partnership is an absolute stroke of genius. Madison has already been deeply suspicious of Bill's abnormal blood work, frustrated by the medical mysteries surrounding his sudden collapses. When Naomi brings a tainted tea to Madison for secret, off-the-books lab testing, the stakes are raised to an astronomical level. They are racing against a ticking clock, waiting for the toxicology results to confirm their darkest fears. What will Madison find in that tea, and will it be enough to put Hayley behind bars forever? Let's take a moment to discuss the agonizing frustration we, the loyal viewers, have been feeling regarding this entire story. I am completely with you on this. I am so sick and tired of Hayley getting away with her sinister games. It has been an absolute torture watching her manipulate everyone, especially Bill, who has been too blinded by his own ego and her physical charms to realize he is sleeping with the enemy. Every time June updates Naomi with another clue, another piece of the puzzle, I find myself screaming, "Just arrest her already! We have waited far too long for justice." The anticipation of Hayley finally being exposed, of seeing that smug, arrogant smirk wiped completely off her face, is the only thing keeping me sane. Don't you agree that Hayley deserves the harshest punishment possible for her cruel and calculated actions? The ripple effects of this explosive revelation are going to shatter the entire canvas of Fairmont Crest. Think about how this will impact Danny Dupree. Danny is currently drowning in a sea of guilt over her secret elevator hookup with Bill during the tornado. She has been trying to push him away, terrified of ruining her beautiful marriage to Andre Richardson. But when Danny finds out that the man she just slept with, the father of her children, was actively being murdered by his new wife, how will she react? Will her lingering feelings for Bill resurface in a wave of protective? And how will Andre handle the explosive fallout when he realizes his wife is still deeply entangled in her ex-husband's chaotic life or death drama? The love triangles and family dynamics are about to explode into a million pieces. As we brace ourselves for the upcoming episodes, the tension is thicker than a summer storm. The walls are closing in on Hayley Hamilton, and the trap is set. Naomi and Madison are working in the shadows, armed with the truth and fueled by a desperate need for justice. Will Hayley notice that the tea has been tampered with? Will she accelerate her timeline and try to finish Bill off before the lab results come back? I am counting down the seconds until this wicked woman is finally brought to her knees. The dramatic showdown between Naomi and Hayley is destined to be one of the most iconic moments in soap opera history. Get ready, everyone, because the storm is finally breaking, and the end of Hayley's reign of terror is rapidly approaching. Who else is ready to watch her burn?